The silver-gray vessel shimmered against the black void of space as it hovered
silently above a quiet suburban neighborhood. Inside the ship, Captain Threll of the Zarkeen Collective stared at the holographic screen with narrowed eyes. "That's the one," Threll declared, his three-clawed hand pointing to a figure walking down the dimly lit street. Small, unassuming, likely weak. Perfect for research. His crew, a mix of reptilian and insectoid species, buzzed with agreement. In their databanks, Earth was classified as a primitive backwater planet. They had no reason to expect resistance. This would be just another routine abduction, quick, clean, and easy. Or so they thought. The tractor beam activated with a hum, locking onto the target, 17-year-old Jake Carter, who was stomping home after a heated argument with his parents. His earbuds blared angry music, and his backpack swung as he kicked a pebble down the road. Without warning, a column of blue light enveloped him, yanking him into the air. Jake's earbuds flew out, and his scream echoed in the night. Then, with a flash, he was gone. Chapter 1. The First Mistake. Jake hit the metallic floor of the spaceship with a grunt, dazed and disoriented. He looked up to find himself surrounded by alien creatures, their eyes glowing and appendages twitching in fascination. The air smelled metallic, with an undercurrent of something sterile and chemical. "What the hell is this?" Jake blurted, scrambling to his feet. Captain Threll stepped forward, his authoritative posture towering over Jake. "You, human, have been selected for scientific study. Cooperate, and this will be painless." Jake's eyes darted around the room, noting the strange machinery and containment pods. His heart raced, but he forced a smirk. "Yeah, I don't think so." Before anyone could react, Jake reached into his backpack and pulled out a can of pepper spray air, gift from his overly cautious MOM. He unleashed a cloud of burning mist into Threll's face. The captain screeched, stumbling back as his crew panicked. Chaos erupted. One alien tripped over its many legs, while another flailed its tentacle-like appendages in confusion. Jake took full advantage, shoving past the disoriented crew and bolting for the nearest exit. His heart pounded in his chest as alarms, blade and red lights splashed along the walls. The corridors seemed endless, lined with strange alien glyphs and pulsing lights. Jake's sneakers squeaked against the metal floor as he sprinted down a long passage. Doors hissed open and shut in the distance, and alien voices barked commands. Despite the fear clawing at his mind, adrenaline kept him moving. Years of running from bullies and chasing after buses had prepared him for this moment, sort of. As Jake ran, he spotted panels on the walls displaying holographic schematics of the ship. They meant nothing to him, but one glowing path seemed to show escape pods. He memorized the direction and pushed forward.
Up ahead, a glowing doorway beckoned. Jake dove through it, skidding to a halt inside what looked like a storage room. He pressed his back against the wall, trying to catch his breath. His fingers fumbled to lock the door, though he had no idea if it would actually stop the aliens. "Think, Jake, think," he muttered to himself. His eyes scanned the room, landing on shelves filled with alien gadgets and tools. Most of it was incomprehensible, but one device caught his attention, the sleek, handheld gadget with a glowing barrel. "Looks like something out of a sci-fi movie," Jake whispered, picking it up. He aimed it at the wall and pressed a button. A brilliant beam of energy shot out, leaving a scorch mark. Jake's grin widened. "Okay, maybe this isn't so bad." The sound of approaching footsteps snapped him back to reality. Gripping the alien weapon, Jake prepared for whatever came next. He didn't know it yet, but this was just the beginning of his fight. Chapter 2: Chaos Unleashed. Jake's escape triggered a full-scale lockdown. Bulkheads slammed shut, and alien drones buzzed through the halls. The overhead lights flickered as the ship's security systems kicked into high gear. But Jake's teenage agility and years of playing parkour games on Earth gave him an edge. He vaulted over barriers, ducked into vents, and even threw a trash can at a pursuing drone. As Jake dashed through the ship, he began noticing alien signs that might indicate key locations, engineering bays, armories, and command centers. He mentally noted these for later, though he had no immediate plan. His main goal was survival. "Attention all personnel," a robotic voice blared over the ship's intercom. "Subject containment compromised. Initiate immediate recovery." In the control room, Captain Threll, still rubbing his eyes, growled, "How is this primitive evading us? Increase security measures. I want every corridor sealed." One of his subordinates, a nervous insectoid named Kylax, hesitated. "Captain, the human's behavior is unpredictable. It doesn't conform to standard patterns." Then adapt. Thrill roared. I want him contained now. Meanwhile, Jake stumbled into a storage bay filled with alien gadgets. His eyes lit up as he grabbed what looked like a high-tech laser tool. Experimenting with the buttons, he accidentally disintegrated a crate of supplies. "Oh, this is gonna be fun," he muttered, a grin spreading across his face. Drones poured into the room moments later, their metallic forms reflecting the eerie blue lights of the storage bay. Jake ducked behind a console, popping up to fire the laser tool. Beams of energy ricocheted off walls and machinery, sending sparks flying. The air grew hot and smelled faintly of burning metal. Jake's improvised combat style leaned heavily on chaos. He knocked over shelves to create obstacles and used alien gadgets as makeshift weapons. In one instance, he activated a device that emitted a blinding flash, temporarily disorienting the drones. Come on," Jake yelled, diving for cover as a drone's shot narrowly missed his head. He rolled across the floor, clutching the laser tool tightly. With a well-aimed shot, he hit a drone's central processor, causing it to explode in a shower of sparks. "Score 1 for Team Earth," Jake quipped, panting. But his moment of triumph was short-lived. More drones swarmed in, their targeting lasers painting red dots across the room. Jake's pulse quickened as he realized he was running out of options. Then, he spotted a ventilation shaft. Without hesitation, he scrambled inside, the sound of metallic footsteps echoing behind him. The shaft was cramped and hot, but it provided a temporary refuge. Jake crawled as quickly as he could, his mind racing with thoughts of escape. In the control room, Thrall watched the chaos unfold on the monitors. His claws clenched into fists. "This human is making a mockery of our operation. I want every drone, every soldier, every resource focused on capturing him. No more excuses." Meanwhile, Kylax the nervous subordinate watched silently. A new thought crossed his mind, one that made his antennae twitch uneasily. Perhaps this human wasn't just unpredictable. Perhaps they were dangerous in ways the Zarkeen had never imagined. Chapter 3: New Allies and Enemies. As Jake crawled through the vent, he overheard snippets of alien chatter through unseen speakers. He paused to listen, his breath held. One voice, calm but strained, stood out. "Captain, with respect, I believe this approach is flawed. The human's resourcefulness indicates a level of intelligence we underestimated." It was Kylax. "Spare me your analysis," Thrall barked. "Focus on capturing him." Jake frowned. So, not all the aliens were on the same page. That might be useful. Chapter 4: The Turning Point. Jake remained frozen in place, his weapon trained on Kylax. His pulse quickened as he assessed the situation. Kylax, with his quivering antennae and cautious stance, seemed more curious than hostile. "You're testing Earth?" Jake demanded, gesturing to the hologram of Earth marked with glowing grids. "Why?" Kylax hesitated. "The Zarkeen believe Earth poses a long-term threat. Your species is volatile. If we can adapt to counter human unpredictability, we can neutralize your kind's potential before it becomes dangerous." Jake's stomach churned at the cold logic of it. "Yeah, well, good luck with that. I'm a teenager who got grounded for sneaking out last week. And you're already losing to me." Kylax tilted his head, a faint clicking sound escaping his mandibles. "You are unlike any specimen we have encountered." "You don't say," Jake quipped. "So, here's the deal. You help me stop this, or I'll make sure your captain thinks this whole mess is your fault." Kylax's antennae twitched in unease, but he nodded slowly. "Very well. If I assist you, we must act quickly. The captain will not hesitate to escalate the situation." Chapter 5: An Uneasy Alliance. Jake and Kylax worked together, moving through the ship with a mix of stealth and chaos. Jake's reckless ingenuity balanced Kylax's precise knowledge of the ship's systems. They targeted critical areas, the engine room, communications array, and weapons bay. "Can't we just blow up the whole thing?" Jake asked as Kylax carefully disabled the ship's external sensors. "Not without ensuring your survival first," Kylax replied. "Self-destruction will only be an option when escape is secured." Jake snorted. "Great, no pressure." As they sabotaged the ship's systems, Jake stumbled into a darkened chamber lined with stasis pods. His breath caught in his throat as he saw humans, frozen and suspended inside the pods. "What the hell is this?" Jake whispered, his voice shaking with rage. Kylax joined him, his mandibles clicking softly. "Specimens from earlier acquisitions. They were deemed incompatible for study and left in stasis. Jake's fists clenched. We're not just taking the ship down, we're freeing them. Chapter 6. The Final Showdown. The pair infiltrated the command center, facing Captain Threll and his elite guards. Threll sneered at the sight of Kylax beside Jake. So, my subordinate has chosen treachery, Threll growled, his claws flexing. And you, human, have proven. Irritating. Jake raised his stolen weapon, a cocky grin spreading across his face. That's what my teachers say too. Threll roared, signaling his guards to attack. Drones swarmed the room, firing energy bolts. Jake dove behind a console, returning fire with the alien weapon. Kylax frantically worked at a control panel, bypassing security protocols. Kylax, tell me you've got something, Jake shouted. Nearly. There, Kylax replied, his clawed fingers flying over the keys. The self-destruct sequence is primed, but the captain has locked the escape pods. Figures, Jake muttered. Okay, plan B. He activated a gadget he'd pocketed earlier, a gravitation disruptor. The device unleashed a shockwave, sending Threll and his guards tumbling into the air. Jake and Kylax seized the moment, racing to the escape pods. Self-destruction initiated, the ship's system announced. Core detonation in 5 minutes. Threll, blooded but furious, staggered after them. Jake turned, his weapon aimed squarely at the captain. This is where you get off. With a final shot, Jake sealed the bulkhead door, locking Threll inside the imploding ship. Epilogue, a new beginning. The escape pod hurtled toward Earth, shaking violently as the Zarkeen ship exploded behind them. Jake slumped in his seat, breathing hard. That was insane, Jake said, glancing at Kylax. We just destroyed an alien warship. Kylax's antennae twitched in what Jake guessed was amusement. You are unlike any creature I have studied. Jake smirked. Yeah, we humans tend to surprise people. As the pod entered Earth's atmosphere, Jake looked out the window at the stars. So, what happens now? Kylax tilted his head. That depends. Will your species be ready when others like the Zarkeen arrive? Jake's expression hardened. We'll be ready.